Hello everyone. Today the session which we are going to cover is about cloud computing. First we will go to the agenda, the lowest part of the cloud to get it a better feeling, and then we will be going over more details about the clouds and the different vendors. Very briefly we will be touching what is cloud, why cloud, what are the challenges, what things we need to consider when somebody has to think that they have to move to the cloud, what all market players are available to go for a cloud, and then finally we will be also cover the best of the two cloud services nowadays in the market. One is the Microsoft Azure and second is the Amazon Web Services. So going to the what is cloud about. So cloud have a services model. So when we say the services model, that what type of a services actually cloud giving to us. So there are three main categories for the cloud service models as it is written: SaaS, software as a services; PaaS, platform as a services; IaaS, infrastructure as a services. So there are three different layers, I would say, in the service model. So once it is SaaS, it means that somebody is distributing just a software. When we say the software, let's say anything which you can go to the URL, open the URL and start using it. So there is a different mechanism and the benefits of the software application as a service model. So it's a distributed model. It is hosted on the internet, so anyone can go by using any of the device and see it. License on a subscription basis, so it's easy to use. We have a multi-tenant environment, which means that number of users can go and connect and start using that software. Bill based on the users, it means that how much the services you are using, you have to be pay accordingly, and is scalable. So if today we have 100, tomorrow we have 1,000, lakhs, 10 lakhs, it's very scalable. Second service model is about platform as a service. So this is the youngest child of the family. When I say family, these are three members in the family: SaaS, PaaS and IaaS. PaaS is recently developed and pitching up, especially from the Microsoft side. Delivers hardware and software for a tool. So it is more about when you have to be start making a new application. So SaaS was that application is there, you are giving an access to the people to use it. PaaS is more about when you have to be make an application. So it's provide a runtime environments, it's provide the tool needs for application development and deployment. Lastly is the IaaS. This is the most popular one. It is just a infrastructure movement, not keeping in your own office, but take it to the cloud itself. There are several benefits out of it. There are several disadvantages also out of it, which we will be covering in the next slides. So provide fundamental resources like virtual machine, virtual storage, much higher order of a scalability. So we can have a 10 machine, we can have a 100 machine, and then we can go back to the 10 machine, 5 machines, however you want to play, however your business required of those machines and these storages. Direct access to their servers and storage. Actual deployment of a PaaS and SaaS. So if you have to go for a SaaS or a PaaS, finally you have to be deployed into the infrastructure as a service if you want to use a cloud services for an infrastructure. These are the deployment models. So once we have a services, then we also have a deployment mechanism. What all way we can deploy it. So we have a public deployment, which is a public cloud, we have a private cloud, we have a hybrid cloud, and there are several others also. So as a word specified public means it's open for everyone. So anyone can come, take their machines, take their platforms, take their softwares into the public cloud. So I'm just reading it out. Is appealing to many companies. Many companies feel security could be lacking. Easy accessible to the general public, own and operate the infrastructure as a provider data centers. Second is the private cloud. Private cloud is more about when you want to keep your information secure and maybe within the organization. So that's called also known as an internal or an enterprise cloud. Data is protected behind a firewall because it's completely your cloud, you can play around it. Dedicated to the single organization. More control, high security and the privacy. So in the other way we can also see that if the requirement is about more control, high security and the privacy, we can go for a private cloud. If it is not that sensible data, then maybe we can go to the public cloud. Hybrid cloud is the mix of both. So if I have something for a public cloud and something for a private cloud, I would be going more into the hybrid model. It's like a car hybrid. So if I have a petrol version or a diesel version or a CNG version, and then we have a hybrid version as well. Then we have a four more other way of deploying models are community. Community saying when there would be a several organization within a one domain. When I say the one domain and a community, let's say community of e-commerce site. So there are several other organizations coming, making a one community and saying this is a community cloud for e-commerce. Similarly, it's a distributed. So if in a geographically we are distributed in maybe India, out of India, different state in the India, and we have to be take machines into different place across the globe, then it is more about the distributed cloud. Intercloud is cloud of clouds. So I have a several clouds like a private cloud, public cloud, hybrid cloud, and then I make a one my cloud which has been accessing all these clouds. It's called cloud of clouds. That's the intercloud. And multi-cloud is refers to service model rather than the deployment. So it is more about that your cloud is a IaaS cloud, PaaS cloud or a SaaS cloud. So that's more about service model rather than the deployment. Okay, but now question is that why we should go for a cloud or why we should use cloud. So there are advantages of using the cloud. So it's lower computer cost. If you have to be buy a machine, it is expensive, but if you just have to be register a machine on a cloud, it is low cost. It improved performance because if the load is more, then you can go for a 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever the scalability you want. But if it's a physical, it's required a time to purchase a new machine, having a setup out of it. Reduce software cost. If you have your own machine, then you have to be buy a softwares, maybe the operating systems, the other softwares. But if you are going to the cloud, you can directly select an image of the machine saying I want a machine, let's say Windows for 8 GB RAM, 4 core and all that. Instant software updates. If you have your own machine, you have to get all the software updates in the different machines. But on the cloud, if you are giving this features or a service to the cloud, they automatically updates for you. Unlimited storage capacity. So we have a too big storage capacity on the cloud. We just need to take them and pay for that. Increased data reliability. Because those downtime are less, there are archival processes, there are backup processes, so it increased the data reliability on cloud. Universal access, which means anywhere in the world, any device, you just log in and start using it. So it's a universal access. Latest version availability. So if we have a latest software in the market, the cloud services also provided the machines with the latest software. But in the internal, we have to keep upgrading it, and sometimes we are losing the path of the latest version. Easier group collaboration, its name says, it's easy to collaborate. I can sit somewhere in my home, at my office, somebody else sitting somewhere else, but we can collaborate each other. Device independence, very simple, laptop, mobile, desktop, any machines you can connect to the cloud. Flexible cost, which means you can upgrade your services for with the higher cost. You can downgrade your services with the lower cost, so you can play around your business needs and make the cost flexible. Similarly, the flexible capacity, you want more machines, you want less machines, you want high services, you want low services, you can anytime plug and play those. It's like an electric switch, you can on and off. Always on availability, so availability is very high. It's totally in 24 hours available for you. Improved mobility. Mobility is again that you can go anywhere, maybe you can in a car, you can out of the India, you can in another office. It's mobile, you just open, have an internet and you can start using it. Disaster recovery, because they have a backup plans and they have a good storage and a number of machines, it's very easy for a disaster recovery, and most of the cloud service providers are giving a disaster recoveries. Less environmental impact, because the machines are in a one rooms, I would say, or in a big data centers, then it's a main environmental friendly. Secondly, if we are in the office, we also have to keep running our ACs, our lights, our machines within that office, which can also impact for the pollutions, which we can avoid by using Start Cloud. Facilitate mergers and acquisitions activities. So if we have two different companies planning for a merger and the acquisition, then it is very hard to go into the each other's network. But if all the companies have in a similar cloud, it is very easy to merge in the acquisitions of the activities. Increase competitiveness. How we can increase it? Because if we know that the load is coming high to us, so more customers are coming to us, but still I know that I have a cloud service available for me. If there's a new versions coming up, cloud is available for me. So I am more competitive in a market rather than the other player. But it's not always that there is always and always benefit out of clouds. There are some constraints, drawbacks, I would say disadvantages also. It totally depends that what is your need, how you want to play into the market, what is your size, how much capacity you want and all. So some of the disadvantage which I can think of is required constant internet connection. So if there is some place where the internet is not there, you cannot access your machines. Even if the connection speed is low, sometimes it is giving a trouble if you have to be handle a large data or you have to do some development work. Features might be limited. So because in a growing state, all the clouds are coming slowly and start providing whatever the functionality they were providing on the operating systems and the other thing, but still I would say it's a limited features. Security concern, because data is transferring on the internet, it's not into the private LAN or network, so there can be a security concern. High dependency on provider. Let's say I am with one cloud service provider 1. Tomorrow if they go out in the market, so I have a complete dependency on the provider. Data privacy issues. Data privacy issues means we have to be think of that where that particular data is going into the cloud, and is our customers ready with this data privacy issues and all. Possible downtime. If the cloud itself is down, there is a high possibility of downtime, but generally it's not the cases, and most of the cloud providers are up and running 24/7. Cost first glance lot cheaper. So initially we have start looking up when we say uses as per the demand, seems it's very cheap, but slowly we have to become up that it's going even more than the actual servers which we were initially in the office. But then totally depend that on what pace you are increasing, how much servers capabilities you are using. It's a small business, a big business. If you are growing up, it's a startup and all that. It's totally depends. So one has to be think very carefully about the cost as well. Data transfer cost. So yes, there is a data transfer cost also in the cloud which is not there into the normal setups. In your own offices, if you are transferring a data from one machine to another machine, they are free because you have your own LAN and wire setups itself. Do you need latest or greatest? So that's also a good point. We always say that cloud is providing us the latest technologies, latest features and the greatest feature. But do we really require it for my business, or our businesses may not be impacted by the new things coming into the market? Inflexibility lock-ins. Inflexibility lock-ins means whenever we have to go with the providers, we have to be get it locked with them. When I say lock with them, that yes, we have a machines over there. So in a way, we are logged in with them. If they are changing their terms and conditions, we have to be live with it. Customer support. If the cloud service provider do not have a good customer support, it's a disadvantage. Hosting limitations. So in some of the service provider, there are limitations also that much you can host, and if you have to be host this much, that has to be cost. Or it's not very easy going that okay, you can host multiple things on a one machine if it is a PaaS environment rather than the IaaS environment. Cloud vendor go out of business. That can be a possible that new cloud vendors are coming up, but slowly it's going out of a market. And if it is, that business is on risk. No hard drive, which means the data is completely with the cloud. You do not have any hard drive within your system where you can, okay, this is my data and I can anytime recover it, or I can start using it again. If it is with the cloud, it is with the service provider. Data ownership. So data ownership, it's slowly going to the cloud provider because they are owning your data, which may be concerned from the business point of view itself. Integrating peripherals and latencies. When we say integrating peripherals, if you have to be start connecting some of the hardware devices with your cloud machine, it is not that simple that you just plug in something in your laptop. So it can be a concern with some of the specific requirements or machines which you are doing while making your business run. Now I am with the explanation of the advantage, disadvantage, what is the service models, deployment models. Now if somebody has to be start thinking of that we need to go to the cloud, there are several other points which needs to be considered before thinking of that. And what can be those pointers? So some of the pointers are existing backend infrastructure. So So first point, everybody has to be think of that what is the current infrastructure. Until and unless business has this complete knowledge of the existing one, they cannot think of to go to the cloud. So having those lists, having those data available is very, very important while making a decision that someone or some business has to go to the cloud. Decided what should go where. So it's not always a thumb rule that everything should go to the cloud. There are something, maybe a low hanging fruit, maybe a Gmail's things which you want to keep within the business, but there are something maybe which have a low storage, mobile devices, internet accessibilities that you need to be take it to the cloud. So that is also an important consideration that what should go where. What's your budget? Again, depending on the existing backend infrastructure as well as that decide what things should go where. Then again, next thing coming is the budget. Do we really have that much of a money to take it over there? Do we really want to go over there? It's really going to make us some benefits to me and the budget or and the cost we need to be involved into this. The another point is how scalable does it needs to be. So there is a high possibility my business do not require a scalability or my business really require very, very high scalability. If yes, in both the scenarios we need to be think that which cloud service provider is better for me. So the next point is that what should you hire or have your team to help. It means that when you are moving from the on-premises to the cloud, there is a high possibility that there is a new skills, new people are required. So one thing is that there are services providers as well who can help you out in transition of the existing systems to the cloud, or there is a high possibility that you will be need to hire some of the resources which can start keeping maintain of the new systems in the cloud. There are three more pointers which is important to consider when we are going for a cloud: security, data privacy, regulation and compliances. Security is more about that where the data is very sensitive. If it is, do we really can go for a cloud or do we need to keep it in on-premises? When we go to the data privacy, it's a subset of the security, but sometimes it's depend on the location where it has been stored. Some companies have a very restrictions that the data should not go beyond the country. Let's say in the case of the Pakistan, if data needs to be reside on the Pakistan, but if there is no locations available from the service provider in the Pakistan, then they have to be rethink on this. Last is the regulation and the compliances. It is more about the regulation for that particular industry, maybe for particular business, maybe for particular zone, area or a country specific. That we also need to be considered that all the regulation and compliances would be adhere with the cloud service provider as well. Now, what is the supporting cloud providers in the markets? There are hundreds and thousands, but there are some good list which is an important one and doing a very good business in the market. So the one is the Microsoft Azure. So Azure is more popular for their PaaS services. Second is the Amazon Web Service. AWS is very highly on the IaaS, but they are also moving into the PaaS. And especially when we have the cost benefit and the new startups, people are more into the AWS services. Others are the Google Cloud Platform, Oracle, Rackspace, Apache Cloud Stack, Heroku, Cloud Foundry, Zen Cloud Platform and so many. It totally depends on what is the nature of your business, what is your budget, in which location you are, in which country you want to do your business, and depending on that what all features has been provided by the cloud service providers, and then you can select one of them. I am covering here two important cloud providers, which is the Azure and the AWS. So this time I am more going into it what all services has been provided by the Microsoft Azure. This can be upgraded time to time, but the time which I am giving this session, this is the features which Azure provides. So in the infrastructure sides, they have all type of infrastructures and the operating systems: Ubuntu, Dockers, Red Hat, CentOS, Cores. When we go to the database, so it's not the machine where the database is, it's more about PaaS. So they have provided the MongoDB, SQL Server, Couch, Redis and all those. Similarly, for the app framework, they have a Python, they have Eclipse. For applications, they have a any of the cloud service providers you can see. In the management, when I say the management, it's about the code management and the versioning. So they have a GitHub, they have a Puppet, they have a Chef. All the CI/CD pipelines they are available into the management. And then they have a mobile client as well. So Cardovo, Xamarin, any Android, these implementations in the development you can do by using the Microsoft Azure feature. Amazon. So Amazon also have a similar things and the functionalities provided by, and if you say in the compute, they have a different type of a machines, which is the high-end machines for computing. Then they have a several other type of a features for a storage and the content delivery especially. They also have a PaaS databases, RDS, Dynamo, Elastic Cache, Redshift and DMS. In the networking also they give the feature to make VPCs, direct connects and the Route 53s. They have a developer tools, they have a management tools, they have a security and identity like IAM, directory services, inspectors. These all are the PaaS services provided by the AWS. They also have a analytics, Internet of Things and a game development features. They provide the mobile services as well, application and the enterprise application. So these are very high end side the Amazon Web Services they are providing nowadays. So this is all for today's sessions. We try to cover more about the basics things of the cloud, different type of a cloud, deployment model, service models, what all clouds are available in the market to be think of, what pointers needs to be understand before going or selecting any of the cloud, which we covered in today's session. Thank you.